Hello folks, a very short video today about coppicing and black locust trees. So what we're looking here is our fence line with our neighbors, and we still have some building materials piled here. But on the other side of the fence is the animal yard of our neighbors, and a lot of trees have been allowed to grow here, such as this wild plum. You can see that it has lots of fruit on it, and many black locust trees, such as this one here. They are actually growing from under the overstory being the plum tree, and here way bigger mulberry. It's actually two mulberries, this one and that one. Those are white and pink and just white mulberry, and you can see that we have a wild plum sapling here and two black locust saplings, young trees here, and lots of them growing here down there as well. So we had a windstorm the other day, and one of the black locust trees was leaning over the top of this fence here, so we had to cut it off. And I wanted to show you the amazing result you can get with just a couple of years. And some simple tips and practices. So this is the stem of the tree which we cut. I put the measuring tape here, and it was easily 4 meters. I cut a bit of the top, so it's 370 right now. And you can see here that the bark is heavily damaged. This is because the last two growing seasons this tree was leaning on the fence, but that was hidden between some of the branches, so we didn't notice. And this type of damage, it looks like it's been chewed by some animal, but it's actually the metal wire brushing here against the bark. You can see this type of damage. It didn't really bother the tree, and it continued to grow very rapidly. So this 4-meter pole we got here grew in just 6 years. This is the 6th year. The tip here, it has 4 rings, so that's 4-year-old, and the bottom where the measuring tape starts, it has 6 rings here. And the diameter is about 6 centimeters as well, so easily 1 centimeter of growth every year in rather shady conditions, growing under this mulberry, and maybe came up above the canopy 2 or 3 years ago. The side branches and the top of the crown, which was thick enough, I just chopped them into those sticks, which I'll be using to continue a small wattle fence here. You can see that some of them already been put in place, and a very rough hedge has been wattled here by the wife with some mulberry and black locust and other tree branches. So those are also put to use, and if you have goats, the leaves of the black locust are also nice forage. So if you cultivate the black locust tree with the beginning of the growth, it won't have any side branches lower, so it will be also more straight, even though that is perfectly usable for some simple gardening constructions. It could be way straighter, and with such a speed of growth, combined with the fact that you can have them grow very densely, it's very feasible to produce your own small diameter lumber in a very small space in your backyard. You can see that those two trees grow very close together, maybe some 50 centimeters apart, and both of them were coppiced once before, and they're about 3 or 4 years old, maybe 3, and they're already maybe 4 or 5 meters up. What we'll be doing in autumn is removing those side branches to allow them more upward growth, and with time we will also coppice them as well, and by that time the new coming specimens will also be trimmed from their side branches and allowed to grow taller. So we have an ever-renewing continuous cycle of harvest. I know that people dislike black locust because it's considered invasive and because it puts out lots of root suckers. You can see that it's got one growing here through the fence, through our building materials, and another one down here, but we don't really consider that a problem because this one will be pruned and will be allowed to grow here on the fence until it reaches a size which is suitable for us, and then it will be cut off. And it's pretty easy to keep the black locust under control in a grazing scenario or where you mow or trim continuously. Those two black locust trees here with the hammock tied to them, they're both 8-year-old. This year is the 8th year of growth, and they were both non-existent when we bought the property, at least above ground. The original stumps are down here and partially rotted by now, and we just cultivated one single shoot out of those two stumps and allow them to grow and shape their lower crowns to provide shade for the hammock, and then upwards to just freely grow. And they have been flowering and providing bee forage and also food for us with their flowers for I think 3 years now. And in time, when they grow too big or they reach the end of their life, I'll be at peace cutting them down, because I know that pretty soon they will be replaced by another shoot and the cycle will repeat. At the end of the video, I wanted to quickly show you some of the root suckering action of the black locust. We are down here by our microforest and the edge of the microforest. You can see our hazels and wild plums which I started grafting, and more hazels there, and some of the hazels which I moved here. Lots of wild plum laden with fruit, as you can see, and then undergrowth of new black locust root suckers, and those are the mother trees up above. Most of the tallest trees here are the black locust. So this is just the grassy area around our composting toilet, and you can see that the black locust produces prolific root suckers. This is all a single root just circling around, and at different nodes it's putting up new growth. Of course, this hasn't been mowed for I think 4 or 5 weeks, so this is very recent growth and very rapid. And there are numerous root suckers such as those. You can also see that we get some this is elm root suckers, because our elms all die from the Dutch elm disease, so they also sucker. But this area, I either trim it or mow it, usually once every 2 weeks. So while I'm doing that, those don't have any chance of establishing. But on the other hand, I'll be stepping on some plum jelly here. Yikes. But on the other hand, in specific places where it's convenient, I can let a tree grow, such as this one here, and just shape it a bit, and in a couple of years or 3 or 4 years just harvest that and use that as a gardening pole. Here's another one which grows directly beside this plum tree, but it's not in the way, and while those will probably be mowed down, others which are in more convenient location will grow to be taller trees and then harvested later. Now, when you consider that the black locust is a nitrogen fixing tree, it has rot resistant wood, it has bee forage and also edible and delicious flowers, and it also is good forage for ruminant animals. Plus, it has a very high temperature burning wood, so it's good for firewood heating as well and cooking. And also, when you consider that it seems created for coppicing, so it takes coppicing really well and it regrows rapidly. It self-propagates by rampant root suckering. I basically don't see many downsides to it except the thorns, which are not much of a problem if you have a wood chipper. And also the more mature trees, they lose their thorns alongside their trunks, and the younger branches usually get composted, where the thorns do not present any problem at all because they also get composted. Now, I know I talked to you before much about our wild sour cherry coppicing system, and I really love those trees as well, and they work amazingly in our context. As you can see here from our small, maybe 30 something stems of wild sour cherry patch, but the black locust is certainly not a tree to be afraid of, and I think that it's an indispensable tool for every small homestead or permaculture garden.